So, what does spirituality mean to you? Right? See, for me, spirituality has a very different meaning now than it did 6, 7 years ago. Okay, 6, 7 years ago, I thought it was all this woo woo, hippie bullshit with all rainbows and unicorns. And I had a rude awakening, okay, literally. Because everyone talks about spiritual awakening being like this beautiful, peaceful experience. Like one day you wake up and you are feeling enlightened, full of love, bliss, wisdom. Okay, sitting under a meditation tree just in pure joy, right? But that is not the case. Okay. Well, my experience, and I can only talk about my experience, right? Because my experience, and yes, there's been some amazing, beautiful times in it. Okay. And I would not change it for the world. But spiritual awakening can be brutal because it's a death and a rebirth. It's a death of who you thought you were. Okay. It's a death of the beliefs that kept you safe. It's the death of a life that you built around this false identity. Okay, and most people aren't ready for that. I know I wasn't. Okay, I certainly wasn't ready for that. At the beginning, it was magical because it was different, right? But see, for years, I was, you know, running away from myself. Burying my head. The pain, the discomfort and addiction, just numbing myself to survive. Right? I had built a life that from the outside, yeah, looked cool, right? But inside, I was empty. Okay, and when I had my awakening, right, it never happened straight away, but over a process, a period of time, all of that was just ripped away. Okay, and at one point, I felt like I was losing myself, right? So you might be in this stage right now where maybe you've just started, because I believe the world is going through a massive awakening right now. People are waking up at different times. So you might be in this beginning stage where you feel like you're losing yourself. Like everything you once believed is just falling apart. Like you're disconnecting from this old life, this old version, right? But you still don't have any clue what's ahead of you, what the next step is. Because if you're going through this, right, I know you might feel like you're going crazy, but you're not, right? You're just waking up. And this is where the real work begins. Okay, for those who are new, my name's LJ, and this video is me sharing the truth about my spiritual awakening and also some of the stuff that nobody talks about. Because if you're going through this spiritual shift, spiritual awakening, then these are things that you need to be aware of. Okay, because there's a breakdown before a breakthrough, and I found that over the past 6, 7 years, every time I've went through something I found very difficult, like I was breaking down, there was a big breakthrough on the end of it, and I'm just not long out of one myself. Okay, because people think awakening is all about raising your vibration. Okay, and that is part of it. But before that happens, everything that's not real in your life has to disappear. It has to fall apart. Okay, and that's the relationships that were based on that old version of you. They'll start crumbling, right? And for me, I still have, pardon me, friends from a long time ago, from our like childhood friends, and I've only probably got one or two. But all the other fake friends, I no longer speak to any of them. Okay, the people that are in my life now are the people that are important to me. Okay, and the people that will probably remain in my life for the rest of my life. Okay, and even the job that that you might be in right now. I had a job that I wasn't a job. I owned my own business, and that was a dream of mine at one point. Okay, but after my awakening, I had so many things change in my life. Now, and I always said that if I went into my barber shop and I didn't want to go, like I felt like, oh no, I had to go to work because most days I was so excited about going into my shop. I loved it. But there was the day after my awakening, and things had changed. Okay, because then I got to a point where I no longer wanted to do it. Right, so I had to sell the shop. Right, that and all the habits, the distractions, the coping mechanisms, they all stopped working because I had, and it's like I became someone new. That's what it was like. Okay, and this is, and I had nobody to help me along this. Nobody had went through this, and I was very scared to even talk about it because in case people thought I was crazy. So in this point, when this happens, okay, this is where most people will panic, okay, because the old life no longer fits, right? But the new path isn't clear yet, right? So you're feeling lost in this kind of daze or haze of what is going on here, right? And I remember that so clearly. I was so lost and I was so scared to speak out because anybody I knew in the spiritual world were like women, men. I didn't really know men that were going through this. And over the past 6, 7 years, obviously, that's changed for me, right? But I was there feeling lost, feeling confused. And my awakening didn't just start with this one event which was probably the thing that exploded everything. And I've spoke about the kind of profound physical experience that I had in one of my previous videos. And I don't want to take up too much time of it there, but I had a physical moment where, my body was overtaken with energy, I had, visions and it was crazy, right? But that was the kind of pinnacle moment of it, right? But it didn't start there because it started long before there. It started with the darkness. Okay, I had lost everything, right? I had lost my identity, my direction, my sense of purpose. I had hit rock bottom. I had 3 rehab visits, 4 home detoxes. My marriage was crumbling. My whole life was crumbling all around me. Okay, I felt so alone, disconnected, and I felt like I didn't belong anywhere, and I didn't even feel like I belonged here on this planet, right? And I questioned life, and even if I was worth anything anymore, even if life was worth it, okay, and for a long, long time, I thought that there was something wrong with me, right? I thought that it was me that was the problem. But now, looking back from a different perspective and knowing what I know now, I can see it for it was. That was like my initiation because in this Western world, we don't go through initiations. In every culture, or ancient cultures, they went through initiations where the boy becomes a man. But for me, I never went through that. And this was my initiation, a breaking down of everything that was false so that I could finally meet the real me, the version that was deep here inside. Right? So if you're in this phase, please don't be scared. Don't try and numb it. Don't try and force anything. Right? Don't try and force your old life to fit this new version that's coming out. Because see, this discomfort is the gateway to your true self, the person that you really are. Okay, and yes, it can feel like an identity crisis, right? Because you'll be like, well, who am I then? Right? Because I wore so many masks throughout my whole life, and I've openly discussed this. I was never real and true. I was always a mask. I was a chameleon fitting in, and it was just because I never felt worthy, right? But most people don't realize how much of their life is built around this false identity, right? We are taught to be who society wants us to be, right? From we're born, I spoke about this in a video yesterday, I think it was, right? To follow the normal path, to believe what we're told without questioning it. But when I woke up, I started to see cracks in everything. I started to see life through a totally different lens, right? And most people, they're just sleepwalking through life, stuck in patterns that they don't actually choose, right? And then suddenly, boom, I just didn't fit in anymore, right? I didn't fit in anywhere. And I felt so alone. And you might be here, you might be feeling like, you know what, I don't know what's going on, I don't fit in, right? And I feel alone, I feel lost, right? Your old friends, they don't understand you. Your family might think you've changed. And guess what? In a way, you have, right? And that was the case for me. I knew I had changed because I stopped drinking, I stopped taking drugs, like boom, like literally overnight, right? And I started looking at things differently, and people did think I was crazy. The ones that I spoke to, people who I was close to, that I confided in, right? They tried to understand, but they did think that something's going on here. Even my wife, to begin with, she was like, what's going on here? She sees this amazing change that I'm doing, stopping drinking, meditating, doing all these other great things over a period of time, but the, she was still kind of like, what's going on here? So I did change. Yeah, I did, but I changed for the better. And this is what no one tells you, right? You're not losing your mind. You're not losing yourself. You're losing the version of you that was never really you in the first place. Okay, you've got these layers of conditioning all over you. And for years, I spent years trying to prove that I was worthy, that I was good enough. And when I was younger, I portrayed myself to be this tough, I was in gangs and I wanted to have respect and to be feared. And and that wasn't for any other reason because I was scared, right? I built an identity about being strong, being in control, right? And that was never my true self. Okay, because when my awakening hit me, right, and I had to face some brutal truths. I wasn't strong. I was scared. I was not in control. I was running away my whole life. Okay, and when these masks started to fall away, I didn't know who I was. Right? And that is scary. But here's the thing, right? Before you can find your real tribe, right? The people who are meant to be in your life, who are aligned with you, before you find them, you have to learn to stand alone. You have to understand who you are, deep within your heart. And there's this thing called the dark night of the soul. And I've been through a number of them over the past 6, 7 years, right? And this is a part where you don't hear a lot of people talking about them because this is not glamorous at all. It's not all love and light, right? It's looking in the mirror and seeing all the ways that you have been lying to yourself. Because when you really look at it, you cannot lie to yourself. You can try, you can lie to other people, but you cannot lie to yourself. So when you look in that mirror and you see all these ways that you've been lying, you've been pretending, okay, and it's about facing the pain that you've been avoiding for years. And that was hard for me, especially when I had used alcohol and drugs to numb the pain for years. And now I didn't have these coping mechanisms anymore. Then I had to go in there all on my own, all bare, nothing to numb or to escape. Okay, and in that point, I realised that the only thing holding me back was me. That's the thing. It was me that I was the one that had created everything in my life. And this was brutal. That's the word that I'm looking to. I had to sit with the guilt, okay, for everything that I had done to everyone, right, while I was lost in addiction. Okay, and people can use whatever, oh yeah, they can't help it, they're an addict, this or that. It doesn't stop you from feeling certain ways. And I'd done a lot of horrible things while I was in addiction to people who I truly loved and cared about. Okay, so I had to face that head on. Everything, be brutally honest and face it with kind of no way of trying to avoid the blame, if that lack of a better word. Right, I had to face the regret for the people that I'd hurt. Okay, the years that I had wasted, and not just in my own life, because I've got 2 young children, and for the early part of their life, I was still using, and I still held a lot of regret there. I had to face that, and then about what I put my wife through, there was so many things that I had to face head on. I had to deal with the self hatred because for so long, I thought I was a piece of shit. I thought that I didn't deserve better. I thought that I would never amount to anything. And that is painful. That's one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do in my life. But on the other side of that, I found something that I never, ever, ever thought I would find. And that's freedom, peace of mind. I found love for myself. Because see, when you face these shadows, then they stop controlling you. Okay? Because see, when you put a light on them, right, and you shine the light bright on them, then they're gone. Okay? Because once you face those shadows, they stop controlling you. So if you're going through this right now and you're thinking you're feeling lost, you're going through this guilt, this regret, this pain, okay, know that you're on the right track. Sit with the discomfort. Feel the emotions, right? Feel them. Don't run away from them. Don't suppress them. Because as I said, if you're suppressing, all you're doing is you're pushing them down and they're in there doing push-ups, getting stronger and stronger, and one day you're going to explode. Okay? Stop distracting yourself. Sit and feel because you have to feel them to release them to heal. You have to feel to heal. Because this is when the transformation happens. This is when you will see the change happen. That's when you will feel it. You will just, you will know that you're on the right path. Okay. And, you know, and yes, you're going to lose old relationships, but you have to get rid of the old to make room for the new, right? And not everyone in your life will grow with you. Not everyone in your life wants you to grow, right? And that's, hard for some people to hear. But believe you me, you will have people in your life who love you and care for you, and they want to see you flourish and they want to see you go. But there'll be people waiting there silently for you to fail. So just know that not everybody wants to grow, and not well see you grow. Not what everyone wants to grow with you. Everyone's on their own journey. Some people will try and pull you back to your old ways. Just look out for them, or just come and have one drink. It's what's one drink? It's no big deal. That's bullshit. For me, one drink led to 100 drinks, to then a weekend, a bender, and then my wife, trying to divorce me. It's so important that you watch who you're surrounding yourself with. Okay, because some people will try and pull you back into their own ways so that they feel better. Okay, some people will think that you've lost your mind, like they did with me. Even now, doing these videos and stuff, there was a lot of parts of me thinking, should I do these? Because I was, again, letting other fear of judgment from other people. But you know what? I promised myself that I would be 100% authentically me, because you know what? That's what I've been guided to do. This is where I've been getting these messages for the past year. I've been sitting in solitude, meditating heavily, reflecting on who I am and who I want to be seen as and who I want to be remembered as. Okay, and some will resent your growth because it forces them to look at their own lives. You're shining a mirror and saying, listen, I'm doing this. This is what you could be doing. So they will not want to see you grow, right? And they will resent you growing. Okay, and also sometimes people who love you, right? They want to keep you safe, and change means that it's uncertain. And for me, that was a big one. When I said that I'm going to sell my barber shop, everybody around me thought I was crazy and said no. But I knew there was nobody that agreed with me, nobody. But I knew in my heart that there was something greater for me to do. So I had to take the risk and give up a dream that was mine, but it was no longer aligned with who I was becoming. The security, the safety, and also just I had built that from the ground up on my own, and I was so proud of it. And so this was, I struggled with this for a long time. Okay, and with relationships, I kept trying to hold on to relationships that no longer aligned it until I truly grasped that I had to let them go because they're on their own journey. I cannot force people to change or heal, and that's not my responsibility. Okay, and I had to, because I tried shrinking myself at times to make other people feel comfortable. I tried not talking about these things to make other people feel, comfortable. But I was like, no, that's not me anymore. I need to just be me. And I see if people don't like it, that's on them, right? And I've got nothing but love for everybody. I don't hold grudges or resentment to anybody. I love everybody, and everybody has their own journey. Right, but not everybody is meant to come on this journey with you. And that is a truth that you will have to accept when you go on this path to becoming the best version of yourself. And when you finally let go, this is when the magic happens. You will start to attract the right people. Okay, people who see you, right? Who get you and who are on the journey with you. They are on a similar journey. Okay, but you won't find them until you stop trying to fit into spaces that you've outgrown. Okay, because this awakening, I've realised it's a never ending journey, and that is the best thing about it. I have grown more in this past 6 years, and that short amount of time, than I did the rest of my life. I have met more sincere, amazing, beautiful people than I have in my whole entire life. Okay, and when I had my profound awakening, I thought that was me. I had arrived, this was it. I thought it was a one-time event. But no, I was on cloud nine for a long time. But then I kind of dipped down and reality was setting in. And then I had other awakenings. I had a Kundalini experience. I had, conversations with guides, Archangel Michael, the Palladian ancestors, my higher self, all these different guides. And these were just all amazing experiences that people still don't believe, but you know what? I don't really care. But what I was led to understand that this is a lifelong process and that we are all here for a reason. We all have a purpose. We all have a part to play. Some are different from, everybody's different from others. But no matter what, we all have a part to play. We are in a mass awakening throughout this whole planet. And people are waking up every day. This is why you're seeing it kind of more into the modern day society or culture. People are talking about spirituality more. You're hearing more people speak out about it, right? And this is because we are as a collective, we're rising, right? So it's a lifelong process. And for me, I've shedded identity after identity, and this last year has been the most profound one for me because I started to truly uncover, parts of me that I'd kept hidden. Just this sensitive, true, authentic version of me. Where I'm evolving every single day, and I'm so comfortable being myself. I'm so comfortable talking about this. I'm finding my lane in this world, right? And it's such a beautiful feeling to have. Every day I wake up knowing that I'm living an honest, committed life. Be committed to being the best father, the best husband, the best son, the best friend, and the best version of myself. And I could not have done this if I did not go down this path of reconnecting with myself and uncovering who I truly am at my core. Okay, because at first it was scary, it frustrated me, and I thought it was going to be a one-time event and there was a finish line. But now I see it as something more beautiful. I see it as something that's constantly evolving, like I'm constantly evolving, right? And I know that I don't have the answers, so that's even again, it's amazing because I'm discovering new things all the time. So there's an opportunity to never stop growing, to never stop expanding, because the universe is constantly expanding, and we are all part of that. So it's time for us to come together and remove the separation, because we are all connected in one way or another, whether you believe that or not. We are part of the human consciousness. We are all brothers and sisters, right? And we are in the middle of a mass awakening. So if you're going through this right now, your awakening is not a mistake. Okay, if you're in the middle of this, keep going. It might be painful, right? It might be messy. It might be uncomfortable. There might be dark moments. But I promise you, it's all for your benefit. Everything's happening for you, not to you. There's a divine plan for you, and you're constantly being guided, but you have to listen to that inner guidance. This is why I keep talking about it. Connect with yourself deeply inside, and you will be guided towards your life purpose. Because on the other side of all this discomfort, pain, and struggle, right, it's the life that your soul's been craving. I promise you that. Okay, and if this resonated with you, please let me know. Are you going through awakening? Have you went through one? What's your experience of it? Drop a comment below. Give me out this video a wee like. It goes a long way. Okay, and what's one part of your awakening that nobody warned you about? Right? Let's let other people know that yes, things happen, but it's good. It's for the benefit of ourselves. Okay, and if you enjoyed this content, please subscribe me and join me on this journey, because I just want to build a community of like-minded people who are all on this journey to help each other, to grow together, and to create a space of peace, love, and harmony. Okay, and you know what? I just feel so grateful that you're watching this, that I can get to do this. Right? So I love you guys. Have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'll have another video for you right here or here. I never remember what side it is, but love you guys. Take care. Bye bye.